class today, not so much, all right? You have a lot of supplementary videos that you can actually look into. Okay, so we will look at the multi-section solid. So you can see under here, now this is an advanced modeling tool and there are many things that you can actually learn over here. So I will show you the basics. So we, as usual, go to mechanical design, part design. Okay, so we call this loft. Okay, all right. So under loft, what you have over here, now what is multi-section solid? It basically means we are trying to, if any of you can remember, it was under the classification of surfaces, where it is one of the resulting surfaces that we are getting, okay? And basically, how do we derive that resulting surface? We actually have multi-sections, different sections, all right, at different planes. And what do we want to do? We want to build a solid with that. Okay, so in order for that to take place, you need to have more than one plane parallel. Okay, so how I'm going to get that parallel plane is I'm going to say insert, you know, my reference element, insert plane, offset from plane, and this particular plane. Okay, so how much I want to offset? 100. So last time when I showed you all how to insert, we only inserted one plane. Now we can say repeat after object. Okay, so you click OK to repeat after object, and when you click OK, it will ask you for how many repetitions. So I want 2 repetitions only, so click OK. Oh, sorry, it was supposed to be 1 repetition. All right. Okay. Click OK. And I'm going to delete. Sorry. It's this plane I'm going to delete. I'll redo again. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do over here, again, plane, reference, select this, repeat after object, so that I don't need to do it a few times. Okay. And 1. Okay. So I have one plane and another plane. So when I insert a plane, I'm inserting 1. And how many after this one I want to repeat? Only 1 more. So, okay, I have this kind of shape. So now let us draw just basic circles, let's say. So I'll start from this, okay? And sketch. So I'm going to draw 1 circle. Okay. And then exit. I am not taking into consideration the dimensions again. And then I draw another circle in the second plane. Okay. And maybe I'll just make it slightly bigger. Slightly. Exit. And now on the third plane. Okay. So I'm not exactly planning this, maybe smaller. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, I'm just trying it out. Okay, so I have now 3 circles like this. So let's say I want to now do multi-section solid. So let's go to this. This is called multi-section solid. So click on that. As soon as you click on that, you can see now you have the area called section and you have the area called the guide. Okay, so let us first click our section. So these are our sections 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to click on section 1, section 2, and section 3. And when I click on section 1, 2, and 3, there are 2 things appearing in the section. Something called section to label it, and something called closing point. All right, section, closing point, section, closing point. So this closing point is an important thing, okay, because it tells where it's going to blend into. Now for this circle, you notice the closing points are all aligned in what we call like the same direction here, same angle, same line. Okay, so this is for a circle where the closing point is like automatically selected. Okay, so we leave it at that. Now under guides, right, we have guides, spine, coupling, relimitation. So let's look at coupling. So if I say coupling and I just want it to automatically blend, okay, multi-section solid, another name for it is blend. I leave it as tangency and curvature. I'll just click preview. So you see, this is what happens. All right, what has happened is it had just, you know, blended from this, you know, it has built a solid from this to the larger solid and to the smaller solid. Okay, now if I said ratio preview, it's the same thing. because the way it has blended is it has based on this computed spine. Okay, so now I'm going to cancel this. I go back to multi-section solid and cancel this, and now I'm actually going to sketch something. I'm going to select this perpendicular plane. Just now was this plane YZ and all the parallel planes. Now I'm going to choose plane ZX, perpendicular, sketch. Okay, I'm going to actually draw what I call a guide curve or a spine. So I'll start it from here, and I'll do something like this. Okay, now escape. So we'll just try this out. All right, you would notice that my videos are like different ones lah. Okay, let's say something like this, and for instance this. Okay, so this is my guide curve. All right, exit. So now I go into multi-section solid. Okay, I will again choose section 1, section 2, section 3. So the sections are chosen. Now I'm going to go into spine. Okay, and this is my spine. I select and I preview. So can you see now, just now how it blended and now how it blended? How it blended now was it followed like my spine, the way I wanted it to move. So this is what we learned in the theory yesterday. Okay, a multi-section solid is going to be blocked or enclosed by its section boundaries, which is the section boundary is the circle over here. All right, and its shape is going to be guided by what we call the spline or the guide curve. Okay, so this is an option of using spine, which you can actually draw any other spine shape and you can test and see. So if I want to cancel, I can delete this spine and we can just test. Okay, perpendicular, sketch, and sorry, I haven't tested, so let's just see what exactly happens. You test like this. Okay, exit, and then this, and then solid, select the sections, and then after that under spine. So this is an option for spine. I select this, preview. So what it says over here, multi-section solid 1, sweep or loft operator. The spine is not continuous in tangency and the result sweep is invalid. Use a spine that is continuous in tangency. What is not continuous in tangency? So you can see now. So as it computed, you can see now what is not continuous in tangency. A line which is not curved is not continuous. So when it was sweeping or blending, you can see now at wherever the point cross sections are, this is what's happening. Okay, so it is absolutely important that you have a continuous curve. So I'm going to close this, cancel, and I'm going to go to sketch 5, and what we will do is we will round this now. Of course you can draw a spine, but I'm just going to round it. Okay, and let's exit and see the result of this. Okay, sorry, cancel. Okay, cancel. Okay, multi-section solid, section 1, section 2, section 3, and then spine, this, preview. Okay, while it is trying to generate, it is still, the curvature is not enough. So when you are actually going to have a guide curve, it should be a completely straight line or a good, nice, curve. This is like what we saw in the rip or sweep. When our guide curve is not smooth enough, when it's trying to sweep through, what this is doing is also the same. It is trying to sweep. It is trying to sweep a profile through the guide curve, but the only difference here is you get to have different cross sections in the profile, whereas in your sweep, you remember in the rip or sweep function here, you have to only use one cross section. So in multi-section solid, you get to use multiple cross sections. Okay, so that's the advantage. One of the advantages. You can do many other things as well. So what is important over here is that gap between the proper radius needs to be actually assigned over here for it to sweep through nicely. So close, sketch 5, delete, So we will go back to having a normal spine. So we'll just use the spline icon. One, okay. Okay, done. Exit. Okay, and then multi-section solid. So section 1, section 2, and section 3. And then spline, and then guide curve, and preview, and you get it. And okay. So this is using multi-section solid and using the spine option. Okay, under multi-section solid, you had the spine option. So you also have under spine option. So there are like guide options, coupling options. So in my video, right, in under U Future, the coupling video is actually already done. So I want you all to review the coupling video. So today what I'm showing over here is spine. Okay, so this is going to be an option for spine. So please, it's an added thing. Over there also I have shown, but specifically I'm going to show this. Now, quickly, I will actually show you one more thing based on coupling. So what would that be is, okay, this is going to be for loft coupling. Okay. Okay, I'm going to insert plane and repeat after object. Okay, how many objects? One object. Okay, so I have now 3. Now, what I am going to do just now I sketched a circle. So what I'm going to sketch now is a square to show you the difference between a curved profile and a planar profile. Okay, exit, and then this one, let's say a smaller square, exit, and finally the third one, sketch a larger square. Okay, exit. Okay, now I want to actually do coupling. So I'm not going to show you spine over here because we saw already. The same concept can be applied. I'm going to go to multi-section solid and we will select section 1, section 2, and section 3. So same thing, sections and closing points. Now the advantage when you have planar surfaces, planar profiles, is the closing points can be actually put in different vertex. Now in a circle we did not have a vertex. So if you want to, you need to add a vertex. So right now I'm just going to show you. If I go into coupling just now and I go into ray, okay, I leave it as tangency and curvature and I preview now. So this is what happens. So what happens is, because my closing point is here, here, and here, which is in the same direction, it blended according to the shape. With the computed spine is actually just a straight line across. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to go to the multi-section solid, select. Okay, if you want to create a twist to your curve, what you can do is you can actually realign your closing point. So how is that done? You can see this closing point too. I right click on this and replace. Sorry. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm going to undo again. So what did I do? Right click on the closing point, replace. Where do I want to replace it? I'm going to replace it here. Okay, so I'm going to replace it there and I've left it at that. So you see closing point 1 in this corner, closing point 2, I changed the corner, and closing point 3 remains. Now let's just try coupling. Okay, and preview. So can you see what has happened? What has happened is, this is how things will happen when you need to actually blend. It will actually join closing points to closing points. So closing point 1 to 2 over here, and then 3. So the closing point 2, the next closing point was down and then down. So like that, it twisted and created the twisted profile. So you can actually play around. Now, if I made this closing point go here, the twist will be so bad it will not form. So you are allowed to actually make this kind of differences. Okay. So this closing point plays an important rule. you will see in the videos that I've added on where those examples will have like square, maybe a circle and another square, and how I will actually add closing points to the circle. So that's also possible. Okay. Or there are places where, you know, I may have a pentagon inside, a hexagon inside, which means there are 6 points, but I'm actually selecting. So now maybe what I will just show you is the pentagon part, hexagon part, sorry. So I go into my sketch 1, sketch 2. Okay. Double click sketch 2. Which one is sketch 2? Okay, the small one. So I'm going to actually delete this. Delete. Normal to profile, and I'm going to actually draw a hexagon. Okay. Okay, I don't want my hexagon like this, so okay, like this. Okay, and then we exit. Now, multi-section solid, section 1, section 2, and section 3. So closing point 1, you see closing point 2 is over here. Closing point 3 automatically as it was selected. So now I go to coupling. Okay, option. If you want it to generate, you can go to coupling and just preview and see. Cannot, it says. Okay, so because the twist is terrible, because closing point 1 and closing point 2, you see how it's twisting. So I'm going to go to ratio, preview, cancel again, multi-section solid, section 1, section 2, and section 3. And then coupling, I will click ratio, it will try to calculate, preview. So this is what it does. So it's so badly twisted, this is not a manufacturable item. So what am I going to do? Cancel it, go into multi-section solid, click on section 1, section 2, and section 3, and now replace this closing point to here, so that it will look better. Now if I click coupling, preview, ratio, preview, you get this, because it kind of picked the flow, closing point 1 to 2 to 3. Okay, now you can see over here that there are these black lines being formed. All right, so these black lines are what we call that coupling. This word coupling, it actually forms couples from one point to another. So I will show you how to do this over here, though it's there in my previous video. Okay, section 1, 2, 3, and now I go to coupling. You can actually add coupling. All right, so first, since the first coupling is already highlighted, I'm going to go to 1, 2, and 3. Next, I click on this coupling and click add. Then I go 1. This is how I want it to blend in this mode. Okay, and then coupling 2, add the third one, 1, 2, and 3, and coupling 3, add the fourth point. You must be very sensitive, slowly, until it touches vertex, and the last one here, vertex. So I have 4 couplings over here. Okay, now I preview. Ratio, preview. Impossible to homogenize the sections before the loft computation. Okay, after I have added the coupling, right, what is not enough is I forgot to change my closing point. So my closing point 2, I click on it, replace, and it should be here, vertex 2. Okay, now preview. So you see, it forms this. It will neatly form. Okay, and what has happened is it has nicely coupled based on this black line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and an additional coupling it added itself because there was a pointer here. Okay, so this is the concept. All right, when you actually add coupling and you can adjust the closing point. So you would notice over here, while I'm actually showing you almost what I call, to an extent, It's not really the basic, but it's a point of blend, right? Much more can be done with blending, and you need to be very careful of the specifications. Only then you can actually build the loft, the multi-section solid itself. Okay, so click OK and done. Okay, so that is going to be for lofting, where I actually covered, right, the spine, the coupling, and you can see the other videos, all right, on this concepts over here. All right, so do I have any questions from you all?